Tyler Reddick in 2311 win the first two races of the season, the first time that's been done since 2009. Let's analyze NASCAR in Atlanta. Hello everybody, welcome to Dirty Air. I'm your host Alex Lambert. Let's talk about NASCAR in Atlanta. It was a crazy race. Tyler Reddick getting back-to-back wins to start the season, the first time that's been done in over a decade. We'll break that down. We'll go through the top 10. We're going to have to analyze exactly how this finish happened, how Reddick got the win, Carson Hocevar making some aggressive moves at the end, Christopher Bell going up the track, getting caught up in a wreck, Bubba Wallace with a real shot to win this race, blows it at the end. We'll break down the closing laps of the race, how we got those finishing results. Then we'll take a look at the results, of course. We're going to take a look at some of these crashes we've seen, some avoidable crashes is what I'm going to call them. William Byron, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson all involved in some weird crashes. We'll analyze those. We'll take a quick look at the point standings heading into the chase. We're still a long ways away from that. And then we'll talk about the racing at Atlanta in a whole. We have a jam-packed episode of Dirty Air after this race, a phenomenal race, a crazy race. And let's go ahead and break it down, right? First off, Tyler Reddick getting the win. Let's analyze the finish. How did we get here, right? We have a caution with 4 laps to go since we didn't get to the white flag. That sets up a green-white checkered overtime event to try to get the race to end in regulation or under a green flag attempt, right? You have to get to that last lap or you're going to have to restart the race. Well, here we are with restarting with 2 laps to go. Christopher Bell, Carson Hocevar get caught up in this little wreck, right? Hocevar is able to continue, but Hocevar tries to push this little hole that's really not there. Christopher Bell ultimately goes up the racetrack, slams the outside wall, and this is just another one of those controversial Carson Hocevar moments, but I don't know who to put the blame on directly here. We'll let others decide that, but Christopher Bell definitely left a bit of a gap, and if you look at all drivers at this type of racing, typically you're looking in the mirror and you're trying to line yourself up directly with the car behind you to get the best push. You see Wallace on the inside do that. You see Christopher Bell on the outside not do that directly. Now, Hocevar goes down a little bit, and then it looks like Bell goes up a little bit, so it just created this mismatch. But usually the guy leading that row needs to be lined up at this type of racetrack, needs to be lined up with the guy behind them to get the best run for the entire line and ultimately increase their shot to get the race. So I'm not sure exactly what happened with Bell, why that wasn't the case. I can't look at this and put all the blame on Hocevar. More stuff will come out about this later in the week, data, what they were doing exactly. But just from the looks of it, from the TV angles, I just can't blame Hocevar for this wreck. If anything, I think Bell just goes up a little bit too much. And that throws the caution again. Once again, not getting back to the white. You have to restart with 2 laps to go. And coming to that restart here, we'll see a mistake here by Bubba Wallace, right? Bubba Wallace out front with a real shot to win. You see 3 Toyotas on the bottom, 3 Chevrolets on the top line. Hocevar leading, Wallace leading a line. And then Wallace goes up the racetrack in front of those Chevrolets, but goes way too far up the racetrack, completely getting blown by on the inside of him by Hocevar, by his Toyota teammates. That was just a bad move by Bubba at the end of this thing. And once again, everything's so close corners at this type of racetrack. Things are happening so much quicker at 1.5 miles in pack racing. Bubba Wallace just makes this mistake, goes up the track way too much. Unfortunate for him. Now, good job with controlling the race, like saving that, not freaking out, causing a wreck, got back in it, got a push from someone behind him, and stayed in it, and ultimately still finished in the top 10. That's good. That's what you want to see. He didn't, go right back down and cause a wreck like we've seen other drivers do in this type of racing. So phenomenal job by Bubba to not, make that situation worse than it was. Points do matter a lot this season. We're seeing that a lot out of 2311 and a few other teams. We'll break that down a little bit more later on. But then ultimately Tyler Reddick gets clear with Chase Briscoe giving him that push behind him, Ross Chastain behind him. It gets a little more squirrely behind that. Hocevar, Suarez making some moves, even SVG, but ultimately it ended up Tyler Reddick getting the race win. And with that, we'll go in to talk a little bit about Carson Hocevar. Once again, we talk about that move that was made. I mentioned that wasn't that bad. One other move that was interesting when we go back to look at that 2 laps to go, Hocevar goes up the track and almost gets in a wreck there with Bubba Wallace. Those are things that I think could be avoided potentially. Luckily, Bubba sort of checked up a little bit there to let him in, to not cause that wreck. But those are those aggressive moves that maybe we're talking about maybe overstepping a little bit. And then, of course, here's one midway through the race. Joey Logano comes down a little bit and hits Carson Hocevar. This one is a little bit more on Joey. I think he tends to come down a little bit, so maybe some spotter issues there. Like I said, everything happens faster at Atlanta, but Hocevar has definitely been in the news over the last few weeks. He's been running the Xfinity Trucks Cup races, and he's definitely been in the news. You saw what happened with Kyle Busch a day ago. Hocevar is kind of this one driver. I think he's an up-and-coming star. He has the personality, he has the driver talent, but I need to see a win or some better results, right? I mean, obviously finishing today's race is good, but like the Coke 600 last year, that's a mile-and-a-half racetrack where stars do shine in a long race. Was up front, had some issues. What was it, running out of fuel or tire issue at Michigan last year? Like, it's good, but I need to see the Spire Motorsports team with these top engineers that they have. Just hired Gabe Hart. That's a little controversial, but just hired Gabe Hart. Top engineers all around at this Spire Motorsports team. I need to see them get Hocevar to a finish, to the chance to really get a win, and that's when we can make Hocevar a star. He's already got a lot of fans. He's already got the personality, but we need results to back that up. You can have the personality, you can have the aggression and all that, but if you don't win, what does it really mean at the end of the day for the driver, the number 77? With that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the top 10. The final results for today's race. Reddick once again winning. Back-to-back wins for him. Huge points. 125 points in the last 2 weeks. Clearly the points leader, which is phenomenal for that 45 team. Going winless a year ago, winning both races today. Now, it's important to note, I talked about the luck factor, the pushing, the drag last week at Daytona. I'll talk a little bit about it at the end of this race, but today you could tell who the best cars were. Like, Byron was up there until he got some damage. Reddick was really good. Briscoe was good. Wallace was good. Hocevar was really good. Like, those guys were sort of controlling the pace. They didn't all have the lead at one particular point, but they were clearly able to make moves better than other cars were and could control the race at the end of it. Like you saw coming to the end, it was Reddick, Briscoe, and Chastain. Those three guys pulled away from everybody behind them. So that's what's important. That's important. Reddick had a faster car today, and we'll see what he can do. Continue this into a road course next week. Very different, but even at the other ovals, right? They have speed. Daytona, a little bit more of a fluky situation with the wrecks in the final lap, but still had a good enough pace. And then, of course, today, just you have to have a solid handling car to be able to win at Atlanta. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Chase Briscoe finishing second. Nice point day for him. Had a rough week finishing in the back last week in Daytona early. Exited after a wreck. Ross Chastain finishing third. He's always another one of those guys that seems to always finish like top five at Atlanta. Seems like we've had him in the top five every year we go through these results in this race. Carson Hocevar, I think he finished second a year ago with the chance to win a year ago, but finishes fourth today. Controversial moves again, right? It's like we're just rewriting the same book, but Hocevar will find what he needs to be able to get up front. I have a lot of confidence in him. A 10-year contract with that 77 Chevrolet, but a fourth place today is very nice. He was leading on the white flag in Daytona a week ago, was leading with 2 laps ago. Today, he'll get there. It'll come. You just got to get those results, like I said earlier. Daniel Suarez, I mentioned him in my pre-race video on, I think it was Thursday. Yeah, Daniel Suarez, I don't know what it is. Like, I'm not too high on Daniel Suarez when it comes to him racing at most racetracks. Like, he's decent at some road courses, but he's made a lot of bad mistakes. He's clean usually, but he's made some mistakes. Doesn't quite get the best results per equipment, but there's something about this track, Atlanta Motor Speedway or EchoPark, right? But there's something about this track. He just knows what to do. He's won here before in 2024 in the 3-wide finish, but he's always like top 5, always top 10 at this track particularly for some reason. I showed the results earlier. Last year he didn't do so well here, but before that, like when he's not in the wreck, he is up front at the end of this race for some reason. He just knows what to do here. It's not even like a Daytona Talladega thing. It's an Atlanta thing that Daniel Suarez has a strong suit for. You don't finish top 5 every race here, just off of luck. SVG, huge win for SVG in the 97 car. He's probably going to be the favorite. Well, he will be the favorite going into next week in Austin, Texas. Will probably win. I can say that, right? Can probably win next week in Austin, Texas, but 6th today. And when we talk about SVG trying to make the chase or something like that, or get better results on ovals. Well, sixth place today is like key. Like that's big points day, considering, at a typical oval, Charlotte, a Michigan, he might not be running top 10 or might not be running top 15. He might be closer to 20th or lower. So big points days like this could really matter, considering he's probably going to get a lot of points on road courses. Just from what we know, he should get a lot of points, or he should dominate Circuit of the Americas off of anything we can take notes from last year. That's not a guarantee, but that's what we expect going into it, right? SVG set the bar so high, but sixth place today, a great result for SVG, no doubt. Shane Van Gisbergen there. Zane Smith finishing seventh. This is one that's exciting. A week ago, we looked at the results from last week, Daytona 500. There's 3 drivers that finished in the top 10 last week and this week. It's Tyler Reddick, it's Bubba Wallace in 8th today, and it's Zane Smith 7th. Now, Zane Smith in that 38 car, was it Front Row Motorsports? He's not going to be fast every week. We're not going to see him up front at the standard mile and a half. We're not going to see him up front at most of the road courses unless something's completely different. Unless it's a complete turnaround. From what we know, we're not going to see him in that team in top 5 or top 10 on a regular weekly basis. So today in Atlanta, in Daytona, and Talladegas, and in these wilder races are opportunities for them, and they're capitalizing on them. It's the field's a little more even. You can make moves. The drivers can do a little bit more when you're in worse equipment. And 7th place today, top 10 yet last week, 6th place, great, phenomenal finish for Zane Smith. I'm not saying they're not going to, eventually get up to that. I mean, from right now, everything we know, the 38 team probably won't be top 10 on a regular weekly basis. Bubba Wallace, 8th. Once again, 18 stage points today, a lot of stage points a week ago. Phenomenal start to the season for Bubba Wallace. They're playing damage control, like getting through the Daytona 500 on the final lap a week ago, making the wrong move today with 2 laps to go, but not wrecking the car, finishing 8th, getting points, and now 2nd in the standings behind his teammate, Tyler Reddick. It's 2 Toyotas leading the pack in points. Ryan Preece 9th, Ryan Blaney ultimately finishes in the 10th position. Blaney's good at Daytona, Talladega, hasn't quite figured out Atlanta yet from everything we've seen. Take a quick look at some of these wrecks. Something that's frustrating about this type of racing to me is the unnecessary wrecks that we saw today. Like here's the one with 4 laps to go with William Byron. I mentioned it earlier, why we had to do those 2 overtime restarts. Byron takes the wall down. He said in his post-race interview, it didn't fully make sense to me. He lost control, but he was trying to get to pit road. I don't entirely understand it, but he's going down the racetrack, clips a driver. A huge crash in the final lap. That just seems avoidable to me. We'll look and see. Maybe he didn't have control, then it makes more sense he lost control on the track. But if he's just going down the racetrack slow like that, it just doesn't, you cannot have those problems. Like this is the Cup Series. We didn't see it in the trucks. We didn't see it in the Xfinity as much as we did today. And that's what makes it frustrating for me, because I feel like we don't have to have these silly looking wrecks or these big crashes every week. Kyle Busch wreck here. This is in the middle of stage 2. Goes up the racetrack, gets hit by Noah Gragson. Now I know I'm a little biased because I'm an ultimate Kyle Busch fan, but it kind of goes back to what Bubba Wallace did. He let up and didn't wreck Carson Hocevar at the end of the race. Well, that's kind of like what Noah Gragson could have done in this situation. Now, I'm not going to place all the blame on Noah because Kyle Busch gets loose, goes up the racetrack, ultimately wrecks because his car got loose. But it's just, that could have took Gragson with him. That could have wrecked him also. You've got to get to the end of these races. So, I'm not gonna. We didn't see the best footage of that one either, so I'm not gonna just blame Noah Gragson. I'm just saying it's that same principle of wrecks we're trying to avoid. Now, here's one I don't understand at all. Kyle Larson going all the way down the racetrack, wrecking himself into SVG. Like that looks really bad, right, for Kyle Larson. And something here Kyle Larson does, and I think we can say it. He makes a lot of these mistakes, right? Like makes a lot of these mistakes where he just sort of causes wrecks. He had some issues with Eric Jones last year, Daytona in the summer, multiple issues at Nashville. The 5 overtimes weren't like 2 or 3 of those wrecks. Kyle Larson involved. There's a lot of chaos around Kyle Larson. He's a very good driver. He drives off of how the car feels. He's a very aggressive driver, but mistakes like those just can't be excused. Just, have to stop doing that. It could pay off here with the new points format also, but Larson just making another bad move down the racetrack. Don't have no excuses for that one, really. Let's take a quick look at the points here, just real quick. You can take a look. Tyler Reddick leading. Obviously, let me pull it up here real quick so I can see it. Yeah, Tyler Reddick is leading with 125, Bubba Wallace 85, Chase Elliott 81. I just wanted to show it. This is extremely early, so don't look at this and take it too serious. But you see the points, the amount of points they have with the driver, how many points back they are from the leader, and then the chase. That's how many they are in versus out. It's a three-way tie right now. It's not. That's it. We have a long ways to go. Only two of the 24 of the 26 races complete yet. So got a long ways to go before we pay much attention to those. Real quick, what do we have right now with Atlanta? It's a little odd. I don't want to go too deep into this. I'm going to say the same thing I said last week after Daytona. Like I thought Daytona 500 was good. I thought today was good, but handling just matters so much. And I think maybe it's just a little fatigue with two super speedway races together, but I just don't like so many wrecks to start the NASCAR season. 2 weeks in a row, we've seen so many crashes. That should get limited as we go through the few weeks. But yeah, once again, if we take some drag out of these race cars at Atlanta, at Daytona, I think you have a lot better racing. I really do, and I think you can build up storylines better. So I'm just going to continue to kind of preach that. Don't want to kind of hump over the same thing constantly, but I think it would make the racing so much better if you had that, and so much more legitimate, especially at Daytona Talladega. But yeah, overall solid racetrack. It's going to get better, right? As this track continues to age every single season a lot, it's going to get better. Today it was cold, and the race ended at night. That makes a difference. So when we come here in July, and it'll be at night, but it'll be a lot hotter. If we come here on a 70-degree February day, that's very possible for Atlanta next year in February during the day. I want to see how different it is. But anyway, that's it. Really all there is to discuss. And of course, let's get rowdy.